Welcome to the Grief Bully podcast. I am your host, J.Nicole. Thank you for joining our weekly discussion around grief, mental health, and your overall personal wellness. The Grief Bully podcast will serve as a vehicle to help you navigate life's journey. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share the podcast with anyone in your life that you think it will help. Let's bully grief together. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Grief Bully podcast. I am your host, J.Nicole. Today is Monday, January the 11th. We are back in the studio, rocking and rolling, episode 74. I'm excited about this episode today. I have a guest in the building with me. I cannot wait to bring her in. It's going to be all that and, what do they say, a bag of, chips. But before we get into that, we want to thank our sponsors, BetterHelp. They are an online counseling organization offering us the opportunity to have therapy sessions from the privacy of our home, text message, phone call, video chat, whatever you could think of, they are offering us that option. If you're going through a difficult time in your life, don't know where to turn, BetterHelp is a good option for you. If you go to the link right here, trybetterhelp.com/thegriefbully, you will receive 10% off your first month. Now, they don't take healthcare. However, they are affordable. They have financial aid. And with my link, trybetterhelp.com/thegriefbully, you will receive 10% off your first month. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out, hit me up, and let me know. So listen, I've been doing a thing lately on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I have recently started doing movie reviews. It just dawned on me actually in the middle of watching a movie, and I push pause and I'm like, wait a minute, God, is that you? Hello? God? Are you there? Yes, J.Nicole, you should do movie reviews about grief. And so that's what I'm doing. And I said, you know what? Let's take this a step further. Let's actually bring it and merge it with the podcast. And we can actually do episodes where we talk about the movie. Try not to be a spoiler alert. We'll try to tiptoe around that conversation. But bringing a different angle, different level of awareness to grief is the whole reason why I'm doing this. And I'm done multiple movies so far. And today we'll get into one. And so that's why I'm excited, because I'm not here by myself, as I mentioned. I do have a guest with me in here today to help dissect and go back and forth and maybe debate potentially. But I think two brains on this and two different perspectives would be definitely most beneficial to the audience. So, like I said, I have a phenomenal guest with me. I'm saying I'm stuttering. Guest. A phenomenal guest with me, not a stranger to the show. One of our what are we going to call that? Like our grassroots effort of building the Grief Bully podcast, a pioneer, a veteran, the phenomenal, the lovely Mrs. Adena Jay. What up? Just so you know, her face is red right now.
Oh, goodness. Hello.
Hello. After that intro, that's all you got for us?
I'm so embarrassed.
What's up, Grief Bully fans? Where you been?
Hey, guys.
You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
You ready?
Yes.
You wish you didn't come?
Yes. A little bit of both.
Yes. So, listen, Adena Jay is the owner of Adena Jaydesigns, which sponsors our inspirational booth. So that's awesome to have her on the show today. And so we're going to get into this. We've watched, I think, 5 or 6 movies. And actually, it's been every day in January. So 6 in a row. Six movies in a row. And so we're not going to go over 6 movies today. But we'll probably do 1 and potentially 2, depending on how far we go. And I'm just excited about it. I felt like it was kind of like a breath of fresh air, maybe new air. And it's great that it's the top of the new year to just bring some more life, to the show. And there's really not any pun there because we talk about death.
Oh, my God.
Man, I am corny in real life, guys. This is not a joke.
Real life.
No facade. This is like no cap, no bap, I mean. Okay.
Oh,
All right. If doing too much was a person,
it would be you.
So we're going to get into this first movie. If you're not following me on Instagram, what are you doing? Definitely make sure you do that, because I am posting these reels, showing you what movies we review for the week, and then I am putting them on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel, please. And if you're just listening to the audio, go over to YouTube right now. It's youtube.com/J.Nicole, the Grief Bully, and hit that subscribe button for me. Show me some love so we can continue to grow and get this out there. So
I'm subscribed.
Thank you. Yes, you are. You are official as a whistle. So we're going to get into this, Adena. You ready for this?
Yes.
All right. So first movie up, was Lila and Eve,
Yes.
starring the phenomenal Viola Davis, the phenomenal and lovely, and someone who doesn't seem to age,
Right.
Jennifer Lopez. And it had a lot of other people in it too as well that just have, I think Shea Wiggum. We had Yolanda Ross. Shout out to her, Jada on the Shy. And so it's just a movie where I wasn't expecting to happen what happened. And we won't give that away.
Yeah,
but
we can't give that away.
we just landed on it. The trailer, so I'm not a big trailer watcher. Let's just start there. I do not watch trailers of movies.
I love to watch trailers. I go to the movies early so I could catch the trailers.
No.
The beginning of the movie.
Waste of time. Because then I feel like you're watching the movie and you kind of already have the premise. You already have like what's supposed to happen, especially if the movie is suspenseful. What the heck is going to be the suspense if I already know?
Well, the trailer is good enough. It won't give too much away, but it gives you enough that makes you want to watch the movie.
Perhaps, depending on how the trailer is done.
I love trailers.
Okay.
And I make sure that I'm at the movie theater early so that I can watch the trailers.
Right. You are. And I don't need to get to the movies early because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not buying snacks. I'm not getting in any line to spend no money. The last time I was at the movies, I told the snack lady, the concession stand, I said, this is really high. These are really high prices.
I got mad at you because I'm like, she doesn't care.
She doesn't care. She's looking at me like, okay, next, like, move on. But anyway, so we're getting sidetracked. I'm excited. Obviously, you can hear it in my voice. So we're watching Lila and Eve, 2015. We watched it on Netflix. I don't know where, honestly, I apologize. I don't know where it originally came out, but we watched it on Netflix. And if you've ever saw any movie starring Viola Davis, you know that it's. I haven't. Have you? I haven't saw one yet that was what I would consider a bad movie.
She's just a phenomenal actress. Like, she makes you feel every emotion that she's portraying. And
I mean, those snotty cries, you can't make that up.
You can't. You just can't.
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about Ma Rainey, but that's another sidetrack. But if you look up the picture to the cover of that movie, that's a hot mess. Yeah. That's, no offense. Shout out to you, Viola Davis. I'm sorry, Queen. You are a beautiful black queen. But you look crazy as all get up in Ma Rainey. I ain't kidding you. But anyway, so in this movie, just like anything else that she's in, she brought so much passion to it. Emotion is a word, right? That you really felt. Mm-hmm. I can tell you this because this is a part of the trailer for people who care about it. It did say that they were grieving mothers who essentially met at a grief support group.
Right.
And Viola Davis is the main character. And then her, what is it called? Like a co-host? Co-star? Not co-host, you're a co-host. Co-star is Jennifer Lopez. And so they meet, they get to talking, then they become friends. And so when I'm talking about these movies, it's not like I say on the reviews to bring this level of sadness to you, but to talk about it and really see the realities. And so what I want to just start here is kind of give the floor to my guests in this first part here. What did you think about the movie?
I thought the movie was phenomenal. I mean, Viola Davis is an amazing actress. J.Lo's awesome too. So them together, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was great. I think part of it was probably be because I wasn't expecting it.
Right.
So I just was like, hey, look, here's a movie. We're going to watch a movie. And then, boom, we're watching a movie. I didn't even realize initially that grief was the premise.
Right. I remember that.
And then we're just like, all right, well, cool. I did see the word grieving. And after I clicked on it, I saw the word grieving. I'm like, all right, you know what? Cool. Like, let's go for it. Let's see what it's about. And so it's super important to me to make sure that we're drawing that parallel between reality and then what we see on the big screen. And so there's these movies where you're seeing these mothers really combat grief, like just head on, right in their face, and they're trying to figure it out. And then there's a part of it, though, for the movie where I think some people in the reviews and comments had to say about where is that line between reality and the movie. Like, if you really see bereaved mothers who are grieving in that way, how are they behaving and so forth?
Right. I think, there was a lot of good points that also was made in the movie about, like, support groups and what that looks like, how difficult it may be when you first start a support group.
What were some examples of that? Like, what do you think was difficult? I mean, that's not really giving much away in terms of a movie, a spoiler alert. by talking about what the support groups look like and where they're how that could be a challenge.
Right. So I think the one thing is when you first start a support group, you could you could tell the uneasiness of it, not really sure, not wanting to talk too much, and kind of how that feels, kind of like being new at a school. You just, your first day of school, everyone else knows each other and you're the only one who doesn't know anyone. So that kind of feeling that was presented in the movie as well, I thought that was good, because a lot of times people don't want to go to support groups because of that reason. But you see in the movie how that changes throughout, how the people that are in the support group show up, and, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it was something that was difficult for her. But I think because, for one, there's different layers to everyone's loss. And so some people, it might be more cut and dry. And in this case, Viola Davis's loss wasn't that cut and dry
Right.
because there was no answer. They didn't know how her son was murdered. They didn't know like who or anything about it. And so I think
Mhm.
that unanswered questions, because I think it becomes a layer of questions, really is troublesome on your
Mhm.
grief journey. And when we talk about that reality or the big screen, I know people firsthand who definitely have struggled in that area where
Mhm.
it's like you can't get that. And I'm going to say closure, but I have to be honest with you guys. I'm not really a big fan of that word. And this isn't just like in relationships. I mean, just in anything, because I feel like I don't think losing my dad could have provided any more level of closure if you wanted to say what you think closure would be, like
Mhm.
being able to say your last things and goodbyes and ask whatever questions and then forgiveness be had and actually be there leading up to every moment. I couldn't have asked for a better moment. However, I don't feel like I really have what someone might think is closure. I don't
Mhm.
know that you ever arrive
Right.
at that point. Now again, disclaimer, I'm always speaking from my own lived experience. I can't speak for how someone else might feel. But for me, I just feel like no matter what, it would never really be like the end or like a ending for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't really know how closure even really exists, because I feel like there's always going to be something that you don't have the answer to, or that you're wondering or feeling that you could have done different, or all that stuff. So, yeah, I agree with you on
Yeah,
that.
I think one of the other things, and I talked about these in my review of the movie, was the surviving sibling. I think
Mhm.
that's a very interesting take and spin on things to actually see what life looks like for that sibling that's still there. You have a parent, so it was a single parent home. It was just a mother, her two sons. Again, Viola Davis, the two sons, and one son was killed. And then what about that kid though? Because
Mhm.
the mother is visibly in grief.
Mhm.
So the world around her sees it, but then also inside her home, her world, because that's her son that's left,
Right.
sees it as well. But does she see him?
Mm.
Talk to me about
Mic
that.
drop.
Mike Job, what's going on there?
That's just so much in that, because it makes me a little bit sad, because like, for my experience losing someone, there's always someone who's kind of like forgotten
Mm.
about. And I know this is your podcast, so even just like with your grief, and I've talked about this before, you don't really you don't really want to be in that front row position, but at the same time, when you're not the first person in line, so to speak, you kind of get forgotten about. So I feel that, the other son, that definitely was the case, and you see that through the movie.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a challenge for sure. But I'm glad they highlighted that
Yeah.
and they showed that. And I think also too that there are people who are watching you and you don't even know the
Mhm.
level of devastation that you're actually in, because I think we get tunnel vision when we're looking for answers. I
Mm.
think sometimes we can get tunnel vision when we're looking for answers, and then also when you the memories that you have are of you kind of being a little more stern. It was like a conversation that they had, and then that was essentially the last conversation. It wasn't
Right.
particularly bad, but And
Yeah.
then also they were celebrating something too. And so I think that also brings up another thing that really happens in reality is
Mhm.
where those anniversaries or those birthdays or whatever it is that happen become, they get like this stigma around them, this
Mhm.
bad vibe, like they're just not the same, which I know has happened to you. Unfortunately, your birthday is
Mhm.
something that has to always be, for me, your birthday was the pretty much the last time I remember my life feeling like my life.
Mm.
Woo! I almost could have cried. That was definitely like the last time where I felt, in your birthday in 2016
Mhm.
was like the last time that I felt like fully like myself, where
Mhm.
I didn't feel just this sense of overwhelming
Mm.
uncomfortableness, I guess. Cause like I don't feel miserable. I
Right.
feel like the crisis part of my grief has definitely changed. But when you look back at your life and you're like, ah, and so I feel like a lot of us, if you're like Viola Davis and you lose a child, or if you lose a spouse or whoever you lose in your life, that the moments leading up to that or prior to that are like the before. And sometimes, because I find this happening, I can't even really connect so much with that person. Maybe
Mm.
like pictures and based on experience. So we went to the ballet, like
Yeah.
that was a really good time, like a really good time. So I can remember that.
Mhm.
But then it was like shortly after my grandmother passed away. And it was like so unexpected. So it wasn't even like we knew that like someone was sick or something was
Yeah.
happening. And it wasn't like that. And so I think that's a really good point to bring up to the movie. Bring up about the movie, I'm sorry. The movie definitely has a plot twist, guys, and I can't give that to you.
No.
If I give that to you, I think you won't want to listen to my podcast or the reviews anymore, because I will ruin the movie for you. Or you can make sure you watch the movie prior to listen to the episodes, read the title. But we're
Right.
not going to give the plot twist to you there. But I will talk about some of the comments that were left on YouTube, where
Mm.
there was a mother whose son died by suicide commented. There was a young lady whose two brothers passed away, and there was a lot of unanswered questions around the death. And then there might have been a person or so that may have potentially had answers and that wasn't forthcoming. And so that brought a different level of anger
Mm.
within that scenario. And so those are some of the comments. And then also there was another comment by a pastor actually that was just talking about how you're not alone. But then this is the thing: when you seek certain levels of revenge and when certain things happen, it still just doesn't necessarily fix it.
Right.
So for me, and I don't know about yourself, and I would love for you to weigh in on this, do you think that there is anything really, as far as like an action or a conversation or perhaps an apology, that could really be a suture or really soothe and close up that hole that you get from loss based on death?
I don't think so. I think it could be something that's temporary, like a temporary like feeling of, I don't know, whatever you were searching for. Um
Like maybe a temporary fulfillment, you mean? Like,
yeah, so
okay.
like, if you I don't know. I don't really have any experience with so much of revenge type of feelings. I have experience more with like guilt feelings. So I that's what I'm saying. I think it would be like temporary, but that still doesn't replace that void or that hole that's in your heart and in your mind and in your life.
Mm.
So I think that it could, maybe temporarily fix that, but then you wake up the next morning and it's kind of, just the same exact day all over again.
Very true. Very true. Don't even get me started. When you just said that,
I know.
it triggered a thought, guys, about another movie that we're not going to get into today, but
No,
we did
don't.
watch, and it's very fresh in the mind. So when you said that, it started like sending my mind down this spiral where I'm like, oh my goodness, I really got to stay here in this particular movie and not get like sidetracked with
Sidetracked.
that,
Yeah.
because it's so trippy that we contemplated talking about it today, but we're like, I think
We
we've
want to
gotta,
watch it again.
yeah, we want to watch it again before we get into that, because it's like one of those things that can really just trip you up and take you there. So,
Yes.
Lila and Eve, I definitely would recommend the movie.
Hmm.
I think it's something that a lot of people can watch. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to also bring up the fact, which was also an important part of the movie, the grief in urban communities. I think that also played a big part as far as, the black boy gets murdered and like the cops don't really do that much to try to figure it out. So there was like an undertone there about that, which I thought was important as far as how the movie, came together and played out.
Yeah, yeah. I totally understand. I think that happens so much. It's sad.
Yeah.
It seems like everything that we're saying is becoming like a small trigger.
Yes.
So when you just said that, I started thinking about everything that's going on in the United States about that, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I need to super stay focused. But I think that, you know what? I think it's actually the epitome of what's going on right now in our lives, that there's so much happening in the world, so much on social media, so much in your real life, so much here that almost every conversation will trigger something else because there's something else playing in your mind while you're trying to be
At
present
all times, right.
in these moments. Does that seem like this is happening to me today?
There's just like no calmness. It's just like everything is just all over the place. 0 stars. I mean, I would
0
really
stars.
not recommend.
Would not recommend
the
Earth
movie. Yes.
Right now. Not we're talking. We would not recommend Earth right now.
Right. Don't recommend Earth.
So overall, would you recommend the movie, and why? Like, what do you think someone could get from it?
I definitely would recommend the movie. Again, depending, like you always say, where you are in your grief. It may be a trigger. Taking that out of it. I think it is a movie that I would definitely recommend. I like suspenseful movies, and so it was definitely a lot of suspense. It gives you a lot of, what's the word? Unexpected twists and turns. So that's always
So
good.
it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's kind of is like that. But I also think that you can learn a lot from the movie as far as what support looks like for some people and what you can do to support someone in their grief, even if you don't understand where they are, you've never experienced that, or whatever the case may be.
No, that's very true. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we're doing these reviews and why we're bringing awareness. And maybe review isn't 100% the best and most accurate word. I think we're bringing more so awareness to movies that are out there that might be relatable to you. And also, like you said, to show, hey, if I don't know anyone in my life that lost a child, or I do, but they aren't able to communicate to me what their experience looks like, I can see it. Nothing's going to be 100%
of course
accurate because no one's grief is the same, but I think it definitely gives you a little like peek into their life and what that could be like, and maybe, just maybe, it can spark different levels of empathy that you can then learn to go within and to be able to offer love, offer support, and just sometimes kind of like mind your business and stop pushing people to be at a place in their healing that they're actually not. So I think that's super important. I definitely recommend the movie. I don't want to talk about it too much longer because honestly, we might end up spoiling it, and we don't want to do that.
I was so worried about that the whole way here. Like, I don't want to spoil the movie, so I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna talk a lot.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. We're not gonna ruin the movie. We're definitely not gonna do that. We're gonna actually kind of start to wind down the episode. And so, Adena Jay, shout out to you, Queen, for coming on the show.
Hey.
Coming back in here, breaking the ice, getting back familiar with the Grief Bully podcast.
I think I might show up more often.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have you come on when we do the movie reviews for sure. So thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem. I'll just bill you.
No, never mind. Solo rounds from here on out. So I want to get into our inspirational boost, which is a part of our show that's brought to us by our sponsors, Adena Jay Designs. They make, create, and inspire us through decorated apparel, wood signs, custom tumblers. Shout out to the custom tumblers right there, and more. Reach out to them. Try to get a discount. I mean, Adena, I've been telling them to go reach out to you, get a discount.
Yes.
You're here. Will you give the people? What will you give them?
I will give them. We need a coupon code or something.
All right. So you go to their website. Follow them on Instagram first.
Yes.
Click the link in their bio. Yes. Go to their website.
Yes.
Use code thegriefbully.
Yes.
And you'll get 10% off.
Sounds good.
How about that? All right, that sounds good. So we're going to get into our inspirational boost, which is a part of our show where we bring you something thought-provoking, a quote, something like that to give you for the week. This week it is, bravery is the audacity to be unhindered by failures and to walk with freedom, strength, and hope in the face of things unknown. Mm-hmm. That is actually phenomenal for 2021.
Right.
Because I don't know what's next.
I don't know.
Hold on. Say a prayer.
we're only on day 7, and it's
Right, that's
already
sad
a
that I
hot
feel
mess.
like that. But listen, that's our
Hot
inspirational
mess.
boost for today. I want to bump into our in love and do I want to bump into it or bounce? I want to bounce into it. I want to bounce into our in love and memory segment. It's a part of our show where we like to humanize the lives of someone that has gone on, our angels, our loved ones. And so Facebook has been really heavy this week with a lot of grief, a lot of loss. A lot of people have passed away.
Mm-hmm.
In my community, I'm from Lawnside, New Jersey, and we
Long
unfortunately
side, strong side.
had 2 people who passed away this past week, and so I want to just send love to both of them actually. So Rochette Johnson actually is someone that I grew up with, and she was in quite constant contact on Facebook. Anytime I didn't have that many likes, I definitely can count on her like, and so she'll definitely be a presence that's missed, not only in social media but in the real world. And my condolences go out to the Johnson family. It's a huge family in our town, so much love and respect to you all. And then we also had Carlton Perry, which is a legend in our town. He did so much for the youth and the organizations in town and set a great example of what it looks like to give back. And so I send so much love to his family, his children, and all the people in my town that are affected by those losses right now. So that is our In Love and Memory segment, which is a part of our show. Like I said, that's very important to me. Listen, it's been another phenomenal episode of the Grief Bully podcast. Before I get out of here, I definitely want to shout out our sponsor, one of our newest sponsors. Their name is After. What is After? After is a company that has ushered burial site visits into the digital age. It's like looking at a phone on an app. You can actually visit your loved one's resting place. But it is 2021, so they're coming up with phenomenal things out here, and this has been amazing. There's so many beautiful stories that this company has been able to provide. Such great memories. Eliminate the obstacles. Definitely check them out at aftr.live, after.live. The website is right here. And listen, I've partnered with them, and they are going to provide an amazing opportunity. If you use my code, griefbully-10, you'll get 10% off the camera. So it's a ground cam that is mounted at the resting place, and you can visit your loved one here, especially for our seniors in our lives. It's amazing. I'm still trying to. And if you don't live in the state or just inclement weather, so many different reasons. But yeah, they're bridging that gap, and I'm blessed and fortunate to be partnered with them. And so I'm hoping that this partnership together can take that burden away from a lot of grieving families. So, like I said, it's been a phenomenal episode of the Grief Bully Podcast. Episode 74 is in the books. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, follow me on Instagram. You know where I hang out the most, at I_am_J.Nicole. Guys, so next time, you already know.
Love and light.
Peace.